Welcome back. Today we have a 1987 Volkswagen Vanagon Westphalia Weekender coming in that I need to do some work on. David, the owner, bought this thing used in 1990 and has been driving it all over the place.
Leaky main seal, that oil coming out. It's got 200,000 plus miles on it, and it's never had a clutch, so we're going to remedy that today. I unhooked the bracket for the throttle body right here. The bolt goes through the transmission, so that needs to be undone. I could have left it hooked there, but I pulled it off and pulled it out of the way.
Disconnect the top bolt on the starter with a 17mm wrench and an 8mm Allen key on a ratchet. I'm able to do this from the top by myself. Disconnect the 13mm bolt on the rear of the slave cylinder. You could do this also from the top, and you need to support the engine. I use some wood with a 2x4 and a ratchet strap.
Remove the slave cylinder. Have it sticking up there. Unbolt the starter. Leave that up there. And disconnect the drive shaft next.
Disconnect the shifter rod from the side of the transmission case. It's a 13mm nut and bolt on there, and then you could disconnect the transmission mount to remove the whole transmission. Here's a closer look with the tranny out of the car. The slave cylinder bolts are here and here. This one is the most difficult to get to because it's got like a limited access. But if you disconnect it and pull the slave cylinder out, don't disconnect the line on it. This way you don't have to re-bleed it. You just have to bolt it back up and be done. Lubricate the little pivot point over here. This was all dried out, so I got to put a little grease on that, and then we'll be set.
Yeah. Look at all the oil in the bowl. That's probably from the O-ring behind the flywheel being dry too. Oh, my hand, see all the oil in the bowl? The ring in there is probably gone. Go up here. Come on, baby.
Remove the old main seal with a seal removing tool.
And out everyone. Nope. Come on. Coming. Awesome. Alright, this is what we used to pull the pilot bearing. I didn't have an adapter connected to my slide hammer, so I quickly welded together 2 bolts just to make the thing work. Works great. Look how much oil's in the bell housing from the main seal leaking. And a groove in the throwout bearing there. Here, the new one is nice and flat, so. This clutch had 200,000 plus miles on it. It was still good. There was no slipping or any other issues with it, but it's time for a new one. There's an O-ring inside the flywheel, right in here, that seals the flywheel to the crankshaft. And the rear main seal engages onto the flywheel itself, not onto the crankshaft. So this is where we have oil leaking. And you could see how much oil was on here over the years. And this is why we were changing this clutch. Not because it was worn out, because it was leaking like crazy. But you also have oil residue inside, and it was weeping past the bolts. When you pulled the bolts off, you saw how much oil was around them. That's from that crankshaft seal weeping past, coming out on the inside of the clutch. So a lot of people get the flywheel resurfaced or replaced, and they don't change that O-ring.
and that's where you have an oil leak from. We have a new flywheel. Not having to wait to get this one resurfaced is going to save us a lot of time. I got an O-ring to go into the groove in here. I got to put that in, but the original flywheel has a little retainer in here. There's supposed to be some type of felt washer that's inside, and that's probably just disintegrated. But I do want to still get this retainer out and put it in the new one. I might have something to fill in for the felt washer, but got to push that out of here now, put it into the new one. That came out real easy. Just tapped it out with a little pin I have there. I push it back into the new one. The new flywheel did come with the retaining pins for the pressure plate, but they were so difficult to drive in and they were basically mushrooming out, so it was better just to pull the factory ones out, which are like a split roll pin. I just pulled them out with a pair of pliers, and we got two original ones in and the one aftermarket roll pin. It's still very fine. So we bolted a new flywheel up and it's too tight. So we went back and measured the end play on the old flywheel with a rig that we had to make up here of some angle iron and little brackets to hold the dial indicator. And we have about 6 thousandths on here. Maybe not be super accurate, but it's kind of on the limit of what they're looking for this. Now we're going to bolt the new flywheel up and see the difference. Here's a closer look at what I had to make to hold the dial indicator. Just a piece of angle iron I had lying around the shop. Bolted on here. I welded on the other adapter. So this bolt, you loosen it and you could pivot back and forth. And then this bolt you could loosen and turn the head of the dial indicator back and forth. I got little spacers. These were inside bearing housings. I just use them for driving things. You could use pieces of pipe if you want. Put them on the studs for the transmission and bolt them down with the transmission bolts. Holds it in place. It's very sturdy and it worked well. Didn't cost anything either. That's the most important part. There was a 0.010 of an inch difference between the original flywheel and the new flywheel. I measured this with a dial indicator mounted to a straight edge. The new flywheel is 0.010 of an inch deeper than the original one, so we need to take away some shims to make up the difference. There were 3 shims in this engine. They were all around 0.010 of an inch. The outer larger one is not a shim, it's just a retainer for the first shim. You could leave it in or you could take it out. It doesn't make a difference, doesn't affect the thickness of the shims. And here's the new flywheel on here. We pulled out one of the 3 shims to try to get the end play we need. And we got like 6 thousandths. Not super happy with that. We got to play around with some other combinations to see what works the best, but we don't have a lot of options. Okay, we're at round 2 with a different shim set. We pulled out one and switched it with a newer one that was a little bit fatter, and we ended up with 4 thousandths of an inch, just what we needed. So now there is only 2 shims in this engine because of the variation in the new flywheel to the old. But that's supposedly fine to do, and that's how we're going to run this thing. I got the area around here all cleaned up, ready for the new seal to go in. The pilot bearing was pushed in. I just tap it in using a socket. Got to grease it also. Got grease in there already. And we're ready for the main seal. Here's the new seal we'll be installing. It's supposedly the one that lasts the longest. We will find out if it's true. A little oil on the seal. Start to push it in. See what kind of persuasion we're going to need. Get it started. There we go. Out of clock. Here's a closer look at that O-ring in the flywheel, and it's rock hard. That may have been contributing to our leakage issues. The new O-ring is installed. I just cover it with a little bit of grease and stick it in the groove. We got new flywheel bolts with red Loctite on them, and we're talking to 81 foot-pounds. The pressure plate's all bolted up. The alignment tool did just move out easily. Now it's stuck. There it is, see? Need to be able to move in and out relatively easily. We are putting in a Luke, I am your clutch. That's what's going in. See how it is. Okay, we are all ready to go back in. We got our new throwout bearing here. We got a little bit of grease on the spline there. Everything should go back in. The Harbor Freight transmission jack was a back saver. This thing was worth every penny. First time I used it. Works great. I highly recommend it. Makes this job much easier than laying on your back and changing it on the ground, which I've done many a times. Ooh, my foot's getting tired, but it's better than my back getting tired. Quick jiggle. Get jiggly with it. And we're good. All right. 33 foot-pounds. Now David's ready to hit the road. Look for the Michelin Man in your rearview mirror when you're driving in Manhattan. You might see him cruising around through the streets there. If you like this video, be sure to subscribe, and thanks for watching.